my recent memory, well, it goes back a number of years. I remember one year they collected dues. They used to collect dues at the end of the year, and they collected the dues at the end of the year, and then again in January for the next year because they didn't have any money. It was a difficult start for the organization. Not that I was there personally. I didn't get involved personally until early 80s, middle 80s, I guess. But I'm familiar with the history. And being, working all those years for one of the founding companies, Kohler. The organization tried to manage itself for a number of years. We hired someone to come and do this, and it turned out to be a person that was lacking in integrity, I guess, and that threw everything, head over heels. And he was ousted, and then they hired the Kohler Group. That's about the time I don't remember when that was exactly. Jelaine and at that time her former husband, and they put us back on our feet and took us to places I think we never dreamt that we could have got to on our own. They really I'm certain we wouldn't have an organization, at least not of the magnitude that we have today, without their guidance and direction over all these years. And they're nice people. They're honest, they're hardworking, and they're fun. They're all good people to work with. My wife and I, we lived in Wisconsin. That's where I worked, and we had a little place up north, a little cottage that we had built, and that was our getaway. I traveled a lot, and on the weekends we go up there and kind of decompress, unwind a little bit. And we had the executive retreat or something they call it, where the executive committee would get together once a year and just kind of do some outside the box thinking and play a little golf. Just it was a nice bonding weekend, and I invited them to come up with my wife and I to our cottage for a couple extra days after we had that weekend in Kohler, and we really got to know those people real well, and I personally I consider them very good friends, and that's not often the case in business relationships. You have a cordial relationship, but this is above and beyond, and I think they're the kind of people that inspire that. I think if you made them make a list of their friends, it would be sprinkled with an awful lot of the business people that they work with, because that's the kind of people they are. I got involved in EGSA back in the middle 80s, I guess, and just as an attendee, I represented the company, and I always enjoyed it. I liked going to all the different places and meeting other people in the industry, and in early 90s, a couple of the actually competitors of mine in business called one day and invited me, if I was interested, to be considered for the board of directors. And so I checked with my boss, because there is a time commitment and a money commitment as well. And they said they thought that was wonderful, and so I accepted the invitation and I joined, and I enjoyed that. Just it was so much fun. The camaraderie that we would have as a group with, what had been essentially strangers, business people that you might have heard their names. We got to be good friends, and a couple of them, Charlie Gears, who's going to follow me in this thing here today, and Leo LeBlanc was a real good friend. As a matter of fact, when I hired a fellow from Leo, he was a recruiter at the time. That's what he did for a living, a headhunter. And so we got to know each other through that. And he told me that he operated a bed and breakfast up in New Hampshire. And that's because he could do his business out of there. He didn't have any requirements to be any place at any given time, no office to go to. And so I talked to him, and I made a reservation for at that time, my future wife, my girlfriend, if you will, to go up to New Hampshire and spend a weekend. And so we did. We went to the bed and breakfast. We had such a nice time, and it was in the fall, and we took a ride up into the White Mountains, which are really pretty in the fall, and that's where I proposed to my wife. And so when we came back to the bed and breakfast, and my wife was, flashing her diamond around for anybody to see, and it was with Leo that happened, and he and I have been close friends ever since. A fellow from Detroit Diesel Corporation invited me to join the executive committee, and apparently they put their heads together and gave their blessing to it, and then I got in the line for ultimately be president of this outfit, and I really was humbled by that and honored certainly that my peers were comfortable with me being in that kind of a position to operate this or to head this organization, and I consider it just one of the highlights of my career, 35-year career in this on-site power industry. 1999 was the year that I became president, and 1999, if you remember, was Y2K. The world was going to end. Everything was going to stop operating because the internal clocks on all these electronic components, no one knew if they would turn over to 2000. They might just get stuck at 1999. They didn't know if there was another digit in there or 1,000 digits, And what a year for business. I mean, the power companies weren't going to be able to operate, and no one's going to have electricity, and so people were lining up to buy little portable generators, and companies were lining up to buy big industrial-sized generators so they would be protected over from December 31st to January 1st. People thought it was going to be the end of the world. Businesses thrived. Businesses of our kind thrived. We couldn't get them out the door fast enough. Actually, when I got right down to it, a lot of manufacturers, and I think maybe bit off a little more than they could chew, and there were some products just never quite got there, and then installed in time to really be of service, and which turned out to be nothing anyway. What a relief, huh? But it was, I'm sure if you'd look back over the history of genset shipments, yeah, or even worse, because now everybody's got one.
Yeah, did anybody return them, or did you?
We were
was there a downslope because
there was an overall shipments, yeah, because some of the people that bought maybe weren't going to buy, but this was something, you don't see these kind of things coming normally. The power just goes out. So, and I think there probably were thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that bought the little portable generators that took them back to Home Depot and, wherever they got them, and never mind, I changed my mind. But the friends that I've made here, to get back to that, we had the first, I don't know if it was the year I was president or the next year, still on the board, and or on the executive committee as immediate past president. We had our spring convention in Baltimore, and so we had a wonderful connection at the Inner Harbor in Baltimore, which is really a nice venue. The very last day, everybody's gone. He probably might have had a board meeting afterwards, I don't recall. But there were three of us left there at the hotel and rushing to try to catch a flight home. And so one of the fellows, Ron Septic, he's also a past president, and Paul Dolinar, and myself. And Ron had a rental car. He was going to drive us all back to the airport. And so he pulls the car up front. We pack our bags into the car, and someone says, "Does anybody know how to get to the airport?" I had no idea. I probably was picked up or came in a limo or something, and I had no idea where the airport was. And but the car had a GPS, and this was new. This was a new gadget that they weren't made in cars. It was something you paid extra, and Hertz would put in a rental car, and that's what he had done. He had no idea how to operate it, but we got in. I sat down in the passenger side, so I'm the operator on this gadget. And so I turn it on, and they're pointing at it, and nobody knows. And so I scroll down to the list of places to go, and the first one I see is Baltimore Airport. Boop, there it is. Okay, route guidance will start, and in a couple of minutes. And so we got on the highway, and it says turn left on this interstate, and that's what we did. And so we're driving along, and we're looking up and just looking around, and you see jets. They're going this way. We're going that way. But I even questioned one. Are we really going in the right direction? And I think Paul was the one from the back seat that said, "Oh, you can't mess with those. That's a computer. They know. And sometimes they will take you the shortest route. Sometimes they maybe can recognize there's traffic problems ahead or construction, but you can't not listen to it." And so we did. We kept on going and going. We're going. I don't know. We were probably halfway to Washington, D.C. But it kept telling us, turn right, turn left. And pretty soon we're off the expressway, and we're going down, there's this, like a surface street, and then over a viaduct, and it said turn left at, I forget the name of the road. And the road was just that. It was just a little road. And so we did it because the machine told us to. And we pulled off, and we went maybe a quarter of a mile, and here is Baltimore Airport. Not BWI International Airport, Baltimore Airport. It's got a little wooden shack with a windsock on top of it, and some little, I don't know, Piper or Stearman single engine airplane parked there. Oh my God, I never felt so stupid. So then we looked through it, and then it saw BWI and pushed that button, turned around, and we were.
Did you make your flight?
I didn't. I'm sorry, I did. Paul did. Ron, the driver, he didn't. And he had to sit for hours at the airport to get another flight back to Chicago. So we. Oh, he gave us the business, and I sent him a present. He's in Chicago. He was in Chicago. I was up in Wisconsin. So I bought him a cheese head, a Packard cheese head. I thought him and all of his Bear fans would get a kick out of that. And I sent him this letter of apology and explanation, and I sent him this cheese head, and he called me later the day that he received it and said that he had put it on and worn it out in the shop where all the workers could see. He said they were throwing stuff at him and booing him. And that's one of the nice things about it. He's a guy I would never have known. Maybe recognize him across the room at that time as the Zenith guy. But he and I and our families have gone out on occasion or two. If we happened to be in Chicago, he'd come into the city and we'd have a meal together or something. Those are the kind of things that I remember and I enjoy about this. This is, I told Jelaine last night, and I truly believe this. This is one of the best things that has happened to me in retirement. To have a second shot, second bite at this apple. I've been out of the business for 13 years, and I still get some of the trade magazines. I still get the EGSA stuff. And I enjoy looking through it and kind of keep up that way. But some of these guys that were very close friends of mine, and along with business associates, I never thought I'd get a chance to see again. And this has just been, it's hard to describe the warm feeling that I get just being here, just being invited. And today, getting up on a stage and the bright lights and being recognized like that, those are the kind of things that no one can take away from you. And I can't wait to get home and tell my wife and tell my kids about it too. I have the I don't know if they still do it today, but they always did a portrait of the past presidents, and the year after they would give you that portrait as a gift. It wasn't a photograph; it was an actual portrait, and I'm very proud of that, and I have it proudly displayed in my home. And my wife thinks that it might be a little vain, but I don't care. That's a precious memory to me. The years that I was involved with this organization, and in particular, the years that I was able to be of service to this organization by being one of the officers.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
That was very
Thank you.
good. Anything else?
No, I'm done. That's all I got.
That was great.